Hi Stampers, this is Kathy from Ladies Stamp A Lot. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Chesapeake, Virginia. And today I'm going to show you how to make this Post-it notepad with a pen. I made these for gifts for my friends at convention. I went to the Stampin' Up! Convention and I would glue this down, but this is the only one I have, so I want to have it for my sample that I'm going to show you how to make. Anyway, so I'm going to show you how easy it is to make these cute little gifts. Now, I've seen several different ones on YouTube, and I kind of combine different versions of it. I've seen some that don't have the pen that open this way, so you can do, lots of different ways. And I noticed, I was at the Dollar Tree this morning, and they have some smaller pads. Their pads are smaller. This one is designed for, it's a 3x3 pad, about 3/8 inch thick, I think that is. I measured it. So they're a little bit thicker, and you may have to adjust it based on the size of your pad, but they're a good size thickness. Okay, so what you're going to need is a cardstock. Cut it 3 1/4 by 9 1/4, and then scoring at 3 1/4, 3 5/8, 4, 7 5/8, and 8. And then for the cover of the notebook, you're going to need a 3x3 piece and a 1x3 piece. And then this little piece here is to cover the pen. I bought my pens at Walmart. They were in the kids section with the party stuff. And I didn't really want to have these like goofy faces on them. So I just covered them with a little bit of DSP. I'll show you how I did that. I bet if you went to Amazon or looked around, you could find black or blue pens that might work better. These are a little bit longer than 3 1/2 inches. The notebook is 3 1/2, but I wanted to have that little clip on there for the pen just in case, so it wouldn't slide through and get lost. Okay, so what you're going to do first is take your cardstock. I'm using a piece of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock, and I'm going to put it in my trimmer. I like to use mine this way. Maybe some junk around here. Okay. Let me see if you can see that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put it in with the 8 1/2 inch edge at the bottom and 11 going top to bottom. Okay, so we're going to cut that at 3 1/4. And you'll have enough there to make 2 more. No, I don't know. I guess 1 more. All right, and then I'm going to turn it this way and do the scoring. I'm going to need to have this arm out for that. Oh my goodness, everything's falling apart on me here. Let me get this back in. Okay, so we're going to score it at 3 1/4. And then 3 5/8. So that's actually 3 1/2 is 4/8, and then I'm going to go 1 more 1/8, so halfway in between the 2 lines there. 3 5/8, 4, and then we're going to go down to 7 5/8. So again, 7 1/2 is 4/8, and then if you have 16th markers, you're going to do 2. Or you're going to go halfway between your quarter markers. So I hope the 8s don't mess you up. Again, yours might be different if you're using a different size pad. 7 5/8, and then 8. And then here's where I'm just going to cut my card now at 9 1/4. 9 1/4. Let me get that in the track right. Okay. So then you have this little bit. You could also have cut that off to start. I just cut it off at the end. Okay, so now we're going to score, or going to fold on all those score lines. So you're going to have 3, because I don't have my bone folder, 3 score marks here. I'm going to score them or fold them. And then the other side has 2. I'll just fold them. So what you have is a big area and then the part that's going to flap over. Okay, so where you have the 3 score marks, you're going to just fold in the center of the center score mark. And then the other 2 score marks are going to like line up underneath and top of each other. So this is where we're going to make the little cutout for the pen. And I'm not real fussy with this. I just go down maybe about 1 inch and I cut into, I hope you can see this, cutting into it up to the score mark and then going about 1/4 of an inch and doing another cut. So I cut this little bit out. That's going to stay out. The other parts are going to be pushed back in. So you just have to fold the score lines the other way. So this goes in, and the part where the pen goes stays out. It's easier to just, when you do it, to figure out than to really kind of see it, but maybe that'll help you how the score looks. This is popping out, and then the other part is popping in. On the inside, you're going to have this little mountain sections with the hole where the pen's going to go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put tear-in tape on this piece of the scored part right along the edge of that score mark. So let me grab some tear-in tape. And tear-in tape will hold it nice and tight. Rub it down to get it to stick. And then a little piece on this side. We don't want to go all the way across or put it on here because then it would stick to the pen. So that, I'm just going to cut off that little bit that I went over. I could have just folded it down, but whatever. Okay, so I'm going to burnish that. So that is on the actual one of the, in between the score marks there, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to lift up the paper off of the tape. And then just make sure that the part for the pen is sticking out. And then you're just going to make this part where the tape is stick against this part of the notebook. Okay, so that's going to be like that. And then you have the pen, the place for the pen out here. You have the scored area here, and then the other scored area is glued down. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so now for the flap, you can see where I corner rounded that just to make it look a little bit more interesting. So I took an old corner rounder punch that I have. And then, what did I do with my paper? On the designer paper, you can see on this one I used the same. This one I'm going to use the opposite side and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to corner around one edge of this paper, and that's going to get glued here. Now I would suggest using the liquid glue or a really strong adhesive because this is going to get opened and closed a lot, and maybe in somebody's purse or pocket that it will get ripped up. If it's just done with tape, it could peel up easier. So I'm just going to kind of center that around with a border all around. And then the other piece, I usually like to pick patterns that don't really have a dimension, or what do you call it, direction, so that it doesn't really matter. You can go any way you want with it. But I kind of look with these flowers which way I think looks better. So I'm just going to put that on there like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the notebook out of this one. I'm going to put it in this one. And I just glued again, used my liquid glue and put pretty much in here so that it will stick. And again, I have the tablet or the Post-it notes opening up this way. Some people did it this way and opened it up that way. So you can do whatever you want. But with the pen, I thought this made more sense to be that way. Okay, so then I went ahead and pre-did my greeting. I did use, I didn't have a stamp set. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here it is. In case you're wanting the Layers of Beauty, I used the Grateful for You up here. And then I used the Nested Essential Dies, the smallest and the next largest, to layer on those. It's really pretty. I like that stitched detail. So I'm going to put glue just on the right hand, the back side, so that when this closes, it's just going to be glued to this flap and not to this part. So we'll glue that. That'll take a few seconds to hold. We don't want any glue here. This is where I'm going to put the Velcro. So I buy the Velcro at my Dollar Tree when they have it. And I'm just going to take one of each piece, one that's the fluffy and one that's the more rough. And I like to put these together. And then I like to work it a little bit so that I think doing this kind of gets it started. It's not so tight, and it's less likely to pull off the paper than if you just put it down without doing this. It just kind of gives it some wear a little bit. And I'm never sure which piece is supposed to go where, so I don't think it really matters, and I just don't really think about it that much. I just peel one off. And I put it on here. And if somebody knows the right way to do it, which is, let me know, because I don't think it really matters. And then I close it. And I carefully open that up the first time. And that's where if you didn't do that working it, it would be harder to come apart. And then this sometimes comes up. So just rub that down so it stays. And now that's done. So all we have to do is the pen. So I'm going to grab the pen. And I'm going to pop off the top. But this is why I wanted it with this little thing to hook onto that thing that sticks out there. And then I use Mod Podge. So you don't want to use our liquid glue because this is tacky when it dries, and then it'll be all sticky and it'll be a big mess. So what I did was I just used Mod Podge, and I'm going to make a big mess doing this. That's okay. Let me just pull this paper over in case I do. I'm just going to put a little bit on my brush. Whoop, that's quite more than I wanted. That's why the paper's there. And then I just brushed it on over this face, and this will dry clear, and I have the satin finish, so it's going to be a satin look. And I just put that onto the pen, and then since I have this extra, I'm going to go ahead and put it against the one edge of the thing. Usually you don't want your glue to like squish out over, but this one you actually kind of do so that it seals nice. So then what I do is I just wrap this around the pen, and I found that this is 2 inches by 1 1/4 works the best. This worked for this, to wrap it around. And this is where I want it to kind of stick out, the glue to come out, so that when I fold this around, it's going to squeeze out and seal really well. And with the liquid glue, I can also sort of wiggle it around. So now that when I wrapped it around, it's really nice and tight against each other. And then I'm going to take some more Mod Podge. If you were going to do a bunch of these, you should put, put that into a little cup of some sort. And then you're just going to go over the whole thing with Mod Podge again. And then let this dry, and you can do another coat just to make it seal a little bit better and have it more shine. Won't be shiny because this is satin, but it won't be papery. So the paper won't shred or get dirty or whatever. It'll be more, almost look like plastic. So just go over that, and I'm not being very neat, but I don't have to be because it's going to dry clear. So I'm just going to set this over here to dry, and then I'll add that to my card later. But that's what I did on this one here, as you can see. So there you go. I hope that you will give this a try, and thanks for stopping by.